Okay, so we're going to talk just briefly about emergent literacy because you've already read this from chapter 4. I just wanted to cover some key points because you're going to look at articles regarding digital emergent literacy. So I wanted to make sure you were clear on what the traditional literacies were first. And by the way, welcome to my office. This is where I live when I'm on campus. So first of all, there is the understanding that emergent literacy develops before children start school, obviously, and the more their home environment is literacy based, the more background they're going to get in literacy. And this is really dependent on what happens at home and any other preschool children receive. So print concepts, Gunning calls them emergent literacy concepts, are listed here, and these are things that if children are read to when they're young, they know these things. And this is why, as preschool, kindergarten, first grade teachers, we need to make sure we're modeling reading a lot because they will pick up things about where we read, where do we start the book, where's the cover of the book, and things like that. So, as a classroom teacher, here are some ways that you can foster emergent literacy. I like the theme approach a lot, and that's coming back. It was gone for a while, but fortunately now teachers could take a theme like the rainforest and read books and literature related to it, study the rainforest as a science project, look at social groups that live near the rainforest. So they can take all the content areas and wrap it around a theme. I've seen classrooms where the whole thing is decorated like a rainforest. And it's a very cool way to bring in learning across the curriculum. There's a great little video here about getting aware of environmental print that comes from Sesame Street. Take a moment to watch that. And you will have to copy and paste the link. I don't think it'll link directly from the video, or you could link it from the PowerPoint itself. Isn't that the cutest thing? So anyway, writing. Language experience stories, Gunning talks about, this is terrific, where you have the children dictate, you write it down, and then use that as your text. Excellent for preschool, for kindergarten, for language learners. One caution on that is make sure that you actually write what children say, because as they're learning to read, they're going to use their own language, use their own words. So even if it's grammatically incorrect, write it anyway, because that's how they're going to read it. And I learned that from painful experience when I tried correcting a young child's writing and he read it the way he spoke it. So that's one tip there. And there's also a lot of literature that says that children, if they learn to write first, actually learn to read easier, and I'd be behind that 100%. I'm good either way. Most schools, though, focus on reading first as a way to develop the writing, so that's probably how you'll end up doing it. Spelling is developmental. Remember in the theoretical PowerPoint I talked about Piaget as being one of our first psychologists that talked about how we learn developmentally. And we can look at spelling just the way we did other ways that things develop as a developmental process. And this is handy to know because as children are working on papers in your class, you're not going to correct every spelling word. And you're going to encourage invented spelling because we want them to explore using language and not only be stuck on the language that they know how to write. So this is important so you can let parents know that I understand the word is spelled wrong, but this child is developing as a speller, and you could identify which stage the child is in. So, like spelling, writing is also developmental, and here are the stages of writing that we will talk about in another time. And of course, we want to encourage children to write, and I think it's still best to have children learning to write with a pen or pencil or marker or whatever. There is a lot of research about the hand coordination and brain development, and we're going to get that through how we hold a pencil much more than through typing on a keyboard. So still today, I think we're learning writing with paper and pencil, and I think that's significant. Actually, the best would be if children were learning cursive first, because that is a more whole brain activity than printing, but at least they're using a pen and pencil. Teaching letters of the alphabet. here are some great ways, and alphabet books are excellent, and we will look at some of those when we meet again. And some of the phonological awareness skills we'll also talk about when we're talking about phonemic awareness. Rhyming, blending, so taking individual sounds, blending together, like cat makes up cat. Or segmenting, if you take the word cat, it breaks up into k-at, and manipulating, replacing the initial k sound in cat with a b sound to create bat are just some of the key phonological awareness sounds, awareness of the sounds in language. So it's easiest for children to identify the beginning consonant sounds, and Gunning has some good strategies and activities for doing that. And fostering language development, we talked a little bit about the first night, where the more opportunities children have to engage in language use, conversation, communication, performing, putting on plays, the better. So we want to encourage children to use language and interact with their language. And here are some other ways to do that. And of course, we want to read to children, shared reading, where they're reading all the same book together, have children read to us, have them buddy read. Even giving them wordless picture books and letting them use the picture book to tell the story would be terrific. So if children have opportunities to go to preschool, these are some of the great things that happens in good preschools. And I'm going to move through this because I want you to now think about how are these same literacies taught or learned if children are living in a digital world. So that's the next part of this activity, is to look at articles related to children's learning emergent literacy through digital tools.